Arabia is facing a budget deficit for the first time since 2009. With 80% of the country's revenues tied to the oil industry, the recent plunge in crude prices has hit the kingdom particularly hard. As a result, the government has cut spending, sold bonds, and tapped foreign reserves to compensate for the $45 per barrel effect on the economy.
They have a lot of cash, but a lot less than they did this time last year. So it's interesting, the architect of the strategy to hold on to global market share when it comes to oil and drive down prices lower is now needing to plug the holes on its own finances. $5 billion in the domestic market today in Riyadh, and up to $27 billion by the end of 2015.
As a result, Saudi Arabia hasn't paid companies working on infrastructure projects for 6 months and has resorted to selling bonds to cover their shortfall. The kingdom faces its biggest challenge in years in the form of war, plummeting oil prices, and the Mecca tragedy. These troubles have prompted several credible Saudi princes calling on the king to step aside. However, the U.S. government just approved an $11 billion deal to sell Saudi Arabia 4 advanced warships amid a renewed arms race in the Middle East. With the deteriorating conditions in the Middle East, is Saudi Arabia the next stop on the regime change train?
And Kimberly Dvorak is here now to explain what is going on in Saudi Arabia and will it affect this war-plagued country. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
So not a lot of people are talking about this. What is going on? Why are they borrowing money?
Well, first, Saudi Arabia they're at war with other countries. Their country isn't facing war, so they're not having an internal war. They're actually having or fighting Yemen. That's kind of their big deal right now. My 3 takeaways with this is that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is in trouble, and they're talking about now, the latest count is 10 of the princes are now seeking to oust King Salman, who took over a year ago. And because the country's not doing well, because under his tutelage they've completely driven the price per barrel of oil down, they're not getting the money that they're used to. So the princes are saying, look, the country's not doing well. We're at war. We can't even beat Yemen, for crying out loud. We need some changes.
So the region, the war-plagued region, is what we meant to say.
Yeah, exactly. So then, the next takeaway for me is that the plunging oil prices was meant to come after the United States, in essence, because we've started becoming an oil-producing country now, and a couple months ago we were allowed for the first time to sell oil overseas. We always have kept all our reserves here, so now we're selling our oil on the open market, something that countries like Saudi Arabia do not like. And so they're lowering the barrel of prices is to get rid of the small fracking companies in this country that were trying to rise up and do their...
Is that why we are seeing low prices right now in the gas industry?
Yeah, it is. We're seeing lower prices because there is somewhat of a glut on the market right now, and OPEC can control this. They can actually pull back and take oil out of the market by not pulling it out of the ground. However, they're continuing full steam ahead to do this and put the oil out there on the market because they would really like to get rid of the small oil companies so then they can again rule the oil industry. And then my final takeaway from this is clearly ISIS has been stepping up their attacks inside the country, and the proxy war that Saudi Arabia is fighting in Yemen is taking a toll on the people there, and they're not paying their bills for their people inside the country, and their talks that they're going to have to cut back on social programs that they have because they subsidize the majority of the people in that country.
All right, so again, not a lot of people talking about this. You're on top of it, following, and you'll let us know what develops in the region.
Obviously, and also just one last thing here. This is something that hasn't happened in this country since 1964, but all eyes are on Saudi Arabia right now because if they have a big change right now, the region is completely, falling apart, especially with Russia and Iran's new role in the Middle East.
And you are predicting that big change.
I'm predicting. Well, wouldn't be a coup, but something similar, yes.
Okay, thank you, Kimberly Dvorak. To read more